stood in my childhood kitchen, trembling, as my father slammed his fist on the granite counter. "Return the $65,000 or don't come back." His face was red with rage. My younger sister Ashley crossed her arms, smirking beside our mother. "You took Mom's money. We all know it, Samantha." My hands shook as I slowly pulled bank statements and teller slips from my purse, placing them on the counter one by one. The moment they saw the dates and signatures, their faces went completely pale. 3 days earlier, my phone rang at 6 in the morning. I was halfway through my shift at Denver Presbyterian Hospital, checking vitals on a 7-year-old with pneumonia, when Ashley's name flashed across my screen. My stomach dropped. Ashley never called me, especially not this early. "Samantha, you need to come home. Mom's in the hospital." Her voice was tight, almost accusatory, but I was too worried to notice. "What happened? Is she okay?" "Just get here. We're at Mountain Valley Medical Center." The line went dead. I immediately spoke with my supervisor, explaining the emergency. Being a pediatric nurse meant I understood the weight of family medical crises. They approved my emergency leave without hesitation. Within an hour, I was on the road, my hands gripping the steering wheel as I navigated the 5-hour drive from Denver back to my hometown of Pine Ridge, a small community nestled in the Colorado mountains. My mind raced the entire drive. Mom had always been healthy, active. At 63, she still volunteered at the library twice a week and took daily walks around the neighborhood. What could have happened? A stroke? A heart attack? Ashley hadn't given me any details, and that silence felt ominous. I arrived at the hospital just after noon, rushing through the automatic doors and straight to the information desk. But when I asked for Patricia Turner's room, the receptionist gave me a confused look. "I'm sorry, we don't have anyone by that name currently admitted. But my sister called me this morning. She said my mother was here." The receptionist checked again, scrolling through her computer. "We had a Patricia Turner yesterday, but she was discharged last evening. Minor dehydration. Nothing serious." Relief and confusion hit me simultaneously. If Mom was fine, why had Ashley made it sound so urgent? Why hadn't anyone called to update me during my 5-hour drive? I called Ashley immediately. "I'm at the hospital. They said Mom was discharged yesterday." "Oh, right. Yeah, she's home now. You should come to the house." The casual tone in her voice made my blood run cold, but I pushed the feeling aside. Maybe she'd just been worried and overreacted. I drove to my parents' house, the same 2-story colonial where I'd grown up, with its blue shutters and the oak tree in the front yard where Ashley and I used to build fairy houses. The moment I walked through the door, I knew something was wrong. The air felt heavy, hostile. Mom was sitting on the living room couch, a blanket across her lap despite the warm July afternoon. She looked tired, but not ill. Dad stood by the fireplace, his arms crossed, his jaw tight. Ashley sat in the armchair, her expression cold and satisfied in a way that made my skin prickle. "Mom, are you okay?" They said it was just dehydration. She didn't meet my eyes. "I'm fine." Then why did Ashley make it sound like an emergency? Dad's voice cut through the room like a knife. "You know exactly why you're here, Samantha." I turned to him, genuinely confused. "What are you talking about?" "I drove 5 hours because I thought Mom was seriously sick." "Don't play innocent." His face was reddening, that familiar sign that his temper was rising. "The money is gone." "What money?" Ashley leaned forward, her voice dripping with false sympathy. "Mom's savings account, Samantha. $65,000. Her entire retirement. It's been drained over the past 6 months." My heart stuttered. "What? How is that possible?" Mom finally looked at me, and the disappointment in her eyes felt like a physical blow. "They found your name on the paperwork at the bank." "My name?" "That's impossible. I haven't touched your accounts since you had your hip surgery 4 years ago, and I gave everything back to you the moment you recovered." Dad stepped forward. "The bank manager said someone using your identification made the withdrawals. We have proof, Samantha. Your signature, your ID. Don't insult us by lying. The room spun. This couldn't be happening. I need to see this proof. There has to be a mistake. Ashley stood up, pulling a folder from the side table. She walked over and handed it to me with exaggerated care, like she was presenting evidence in a courtroom. Here. See for yourself. I opened the folder with shaking hands. Inside were photocopies of bank withdrawal slips. 6 months' worth. January through June. Each one showed amounts ranging from $8,000 to $12,000. And at the bottom of each slip was a signature that looked exactly like mine. My vision blurred as I tried to process what I was seeing. The signatures were nearly perfect replicas. The handwriting, the loop of my S, the way I crossed my T's, but I knew with absolute certainty that I hadn't written them. This isn't me. I didn't do this. Really? Ashley's voice was sharp. Because it sure looks like your signature, and the bank has your ID on file. I haven't been home since Christmas. I've been working double shifts at the hospital. You can check my work records. I've barely had a day off. You could have driven down on your days off, Ashley countered. It's only 5 hours. You could have made the trip, done what you needed to do, and driven back. Who would know? I stared at my sister, seeing a stranger. You actually believe I would steal from our mother? Mom's voice was quiet, but firm. I trusted you, Samantha. 4 years ago, when I had my surgery, I gave you access to everything. My PIN, my security questions. I never changed them because I trusted you. The accusation hung in the air. I felt like I was drowning. Mom, I would never. The bank manager confirmed it. Dad interrupted. They have security camera footage. The person matches your build, your height. They wore a hat and sunglasses. But it's clearly you. It's not me. Someone stole my identity. Ashley scoffed. Oh, please. That's convenient. Show me the footage. Let me see it. Dad shook his head. We've seen enough. Your mother is devastated. She saved that money for 20 years. It was supposed to fund her retirement. Maybe help with medical expenses down the line. And you took it. I didn't! My voice cracked. I was pleading now, desperate for them to believe me. Why would I do this? I have a good job. I'm financially stable. I don't need your money. Ashley pulled out her phone, her expression triumphant. Really? Because Mom has text messages from you. From February. You asked about that banking favor. Remember? She turned the phone toward me. There, in a text conversation with Mom's number, were messages I'd never sent. Messages asking about account access, about withdrawal limits. My chest tightened. I never sent those. Check my phone. They're not there. I pulled out my own phone, scrolling frantically through my conversation history with Mom. The messages Ashley was showing didn't exist on my end. You deleted them, Ashley said simply. Obviously. This is insane. Someone is framing me. Dad's face was stone. Enough. We didn't raise you to be a liar and a thief. You have 72 hours, Samantha. Return the full $65,000, or you're no longer part of this family. And I'm filing a police report for elder financial abuse. The words hit me like a sledgehammer. Elder financial abuse. If he filed that report, if charges were pressed, I wouldn't just lose my family. I'd lose my nursing license. My entire career would be destroyed. Everything I'd worked for, the student loans I was still paying off, the years of studying and sacrifice, all of it would be gone. Dad, please. You have to believe me. 72 hours. That's all you get. I looked at each of them. Mom wouldn't meet my eyes. Dad's face was set in fury. And Ashley, my own sister, was watching me with cold satisfaction. I realized then that this wasn't just about money. Someone had carefully, deliberately framed me. And standing in that room, seeing the certainty in their eyes. I knew I had to prove my innocence myself, because no one else was going to fight for me. I barely slept that night. I'd checked into a budget motel on the edge of town, unable to stomach the idea of staying in my childhood home while my own family believed I was a criminal. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw their faces. The disappointment, the anger, the absolute conviction that I'd betrayed them. By 7 in the morning, I was sitting in my car outside Mountain Valley Credit Union, waiting for them to open. I'd spent the night going through every detail I could remember, trying to piece together what had happened. Someone had stolen my identity. Someone had forged my signature. Someone had used my old information to drain my mother's life savings. But who? And why frame me? The bank's doors unlocked at 9. I was the first person inside. "I need to speak with the manager, please. It's urgent." The teller, a young woman with blonde hair pulled back in a tight bun, gave me a professional smile. "Of course. May I ask what this is regarding?" "My mother's account. There have been fraudulent withdrawals, and I need to see the documentation." Her smile faltered slightly. "Your name?" "Samantha Turner. My mother is Patricia Turner." Recognition flashed across her face, and something else. Discomfort. She'd heard about this. "Let me get Mr. Harper for you." Douglas Harper appeared a few minutes later, a tall man in his mid-50s with graying hair and wire-rimmed glasses. His expression was cautious but sympathetic as he led me into his office. "Miss Turner, your father spoke with me yesterday. I understand this is a difficult situation." "Mr. Harper, I didn't take that money. Someone used my identity to commit fraud, and I need to see everything you have on these withdrawals." He studied my face for a long moment, then nodded slowly. "I believe in thoroughness. Let me pull up the records." He turned his computer screen toward me. 6 months of withdrawal records filled the display, January through June. Amounts carefully calculated to stay below $10,000 each, the federal reporting threshold. Whoever did this knew exactly what they were doing. These withdrawals were made in person, correct? Yes. Always in cash. Always with proper identification. "Can I see the copies of the ID that was used?" Douglas pulled up scanned images of a driver's license. My driver's license. Except something was off. I leaned closer, studying the address listed. "This is my old address. From 5 years ago, before I moved to Denver." Douglas adjusted his glasses, looking at the screen more carefully. "You're right. This shows an apartment on Maple Street. I moved in 2019. I got a new license with my Denver address. I never reported this one lost or stolen because I got a replacement when I updated my address." "So someone could have had access to your old license?" "Apparently." My mind was racing. Where would someone have gotten it? I'd kept my old IDs in a box of personal documents at my parents' house, stored in the basement. But who would have access to that? "Can I see the security footage?" Douglas pulled up the video files. The quality was decent, but frustrating. Each clip showed a woman approximately my height and build, wearing jeans and a dark jacket. Every single time, she wore a baseball cap pulled low and large sunglasses that covered half her face. Her brown hair was visible, similar in length and color to mine. She moved confidently, knew where the cameras were, angled her body in ways that prevented a clear facial shot. "This is deliberate," I murmured. "Whoever this is knew exactly where your cameras are positioned." "I thought the same thing," Douglas admitted. "The angles are too perfect to be coincidental." I watched the clips multiple times, studying every detail. The woman's gait, her posture, the way she moved. Something about it felt familiar, but I couldn't place it. "Mr. Harper, who processed these transactions?" He consulted the records. "Let me see. January through March were handled by several different tellers, but April, May, and June were all processed by the same person, Brittany Morrison. Though she went by Brittany Chen back then, before her marriage." My blood went cold. "Brittany Morrison?" "Yes." "Do you know her?" "She was my sister's best friend in high school." Douglas's eyebrows rose. "I see. Is she still working here?" "No, Actually, Brittany left about 2 months ago. June, I believe. She moved out of state rather suddenly. June, right after the last withdrawal. The timing was too perfect. Do you have contact information for her? I'm sorry, Miss Turner. I can't release employee information due to privacy policies. But if you're suggesting employee involvement in fraud, I need to take that very seriously. I'm not just suggesting it, Mr. Harper. I think Brittany helped whoever did this. She would have had access to my mother's account information. She would have known how to process the withdrawals without triggering alerts. And she left right after the money was gone. Douglas's expression darkened. I'll need to review her employment records and all transactions she processed. If there's evidence of internal fraud, the bank will cooperate fully with any investigation. Thank you. I stood to leave, but paused. One more thing. The bank statement said someone from town gave a witness statement saying they saw me here in March. That came from your father, who heard it from someone else. I don't have direct confirmation of that witness. Another piece that didn't add up. I left the bank feeling like I'd made progress, but the picture forming in my mind was devastating. Brittany had access. Brittany was Ashley's best friend, and Ashley had been so eager to believe I was guilty, so quick to show me that evidence on her phone. I sat in my car and thought back to last Thanksgiving. Ashley had pulled me aside during dinner, asking if I could loan money to Brittany, who was going through a difficult divorce and struggling financially. I'd said no, explaining that I was still paying off $70,000 in nursing school loans and couldn't afford to help. Ashley had seemed annoyed but dropped it. Had that refusal been the seed of this? Had Ashley resented me so much that she'd conspired with Brittany to frame me? I needed more proof. I drove to the Pine Ridge Police Department, a small brick building on Main Street. The officer at the front desk took my information and led me to a detective's office. Detective Sarah Brennan was a woman in her early 40s with sharp eyes and a no-nonsense demeanor. She listened as I explained the situation, taking notes. So you're reporting identity theft and fraud? Yes. Someone used my old driver's license to withdraw my mother's savings. I believe a bank employee named Brittany Morrison was involved, possibly working with someone else. Do you have evidence of this? The bank manager is reviewing her transaction records. The timing of her leaving the bank matches the last withdrawal. And she's close friends with my sister, who has been very quick to accuse me. Sarah's pen stopped moving. Your sister Ashley Turner? Yes. Do you know her? She was here yesterday. She gave a witness statement. My stomach dropped. A statement about what? She said she saw you with large amounts of cash in April. Said you asked her to lie about your whereabouts if anyone asked. The room tilted. Ashley hadn't just failed to defend me. She was actively building a case against me. That's a lie. I haven't had large amounts of cash. I haven't asked her to lie about anything. Detective, I think my sister might be involved in framing me. Sarah's expression remained neutral, but I could see the calculation in her eyes. Family accusations were messy, complicated. Without hard evidence, it was my word against Ashley's. I'll look into this, Miss Turner. But I need you to understand that making false accusations against a family member is serious. I'm not making false accusations. I'm telling you the truth. Then get me proof. I left the police station feeling hollow. My own family had turned against me. The bank couldn't give me Brittany's information. The police thought I might be lying. I had 72 hours to prove my innocence, and the clock was ticking. I called Jordan the moment I got back to my motel room. Jordan Chen had been my roommate in nursing school, my closest friend through 4 years of grueling studies and clinical rotations. We'd stayed close even after I moved to Denver and she took a position in hospital administration in Boulder. Sam? What's wrong? You sound terrible. I told her everything. The accusations, the evidence, the impossible situation I was in. Jordan listened without interrupting, and when I finished, she was quiet for a long moment. This is insane. Your family actually believes you stole from your mom? They have evidence, Jordan. Someone did a really good job framing me. Okay. Let me think. I could hear her pacing. My sister Rachel is a private investigator. She specializes in fraud cases. Let me call her. I can't afford a private investigator right now. She owes me about 1,000 favors. Let me talk to her. 2 hours later, I was sitting in a coffee shop downtown, meeting Rachel Brooks. She was younger than I expected, maybe 30, with dark hair cut in a sharp bob and intelligent eyes that seemed to absorb every detail. Jordan told me your situation. This is a solid frame job. Can you help me? I can try. But I need you to be completely honest with me. Is there any chance, even a small one, that you did take this money and don't remember? Stress? Blackouts? Anything? No, absolutely not. She studied me, then nodded. Good. Then let's figure out who did. Rachel started by examining the timeline I'd constructed. She asked detailed questions about my relationship with Ashley, about Brittany, about my parents' finances. Then she made a list of what we needed to find. Social media is going to be your friend here. If Ashley and Brittany were spending stolen money, they probably posted about it. People always do. Brittany's social media is locked down. I checked. To you, maybe, but I have ways of seeing private accounts. She pulled out her laptop. Give me their names and any handles you know. I watched as Rachel worked, her fingers flying across the keyboard. Within 20 minutes, she'd found Brittany's Instagram account, Facebook profile, and even a Twitter account I didn't know existed. Okay, this is interesting. Brittany's public posts are limited, but her tagged photos tell a different story. She turned the laptop toward me. There were dozens of photos of Brittany and Ashley together over the past year. Expensive restaurants, shopping trips, a weekend in Las Vegas, a beach resort. Each photo was time-stamped, and as I looked at the dates, my heart sank. March 15th, a photo of Brittany and Ashley at a spa in Aspen. The caption read, "Best Friends Spa Day. We deserve this." March 17th, a withdrawal of $9,800 from my mother's account. April 22nd, Brittany and Ashley at a concert in Denver. VIP tickets, expensive outfits. April 25th, a withdrawal of $10,200. The pattern continued through May and June. Every luxury trip, every expensive purchase, was followed within days by a large cash withdrawal. They weren't even trying to hide it, Rachel murmured. They just didn't think anyone would look. Can we use this as evidence? It's circumstantial, but it's compelling. Combined with Brittany's access as a bank employee and the timing of her leaving the bank, it builds a case. Rachel made notes. I'm going to dig deeper. Property records, financial documents, anything public I can access. She worked for another hour while I sat there, feeling sick. My sister had done this. My sister had stolen from our mother, framed me, and then lied to my face about it. The betrayal cut deeper than I could have imagined. Sam, look at this. Rachel turned the screen again. Property records show Ashley and her husband Marcus bought their house 14 months ago. The down payment was $40,000. Paid. In cash. $40,000 in cash? How is that possible? Ashley works part-time at a salon, and Marcus is a middle school teacher. Exactly. And look at the date of purchase. May of last year. She pulled up another document. The first withdrawal from your mother's account was January of this year. But I'm willing to bet, if we looked at your mother's other accounts or assets, we'd find money missing before that. My phone rang. It was Douglas Harper from the bank. Miss Turner, I've reviewed Brittany's employment records. I found something disturbing. There were several policy violations in her file that were never properly addressed. Small discrepancies in cash handling, transaction irregularities. Nothing major enough to fire her, but enough to raise red flags. Why wasn't she let go? She had consistently good performance reviews and customer satisfaction ratings. I inherited this branch 6 months ago and was just beginning to implement stricter protocols when she resigned. Mr. Harper, Do you remember what Brittany looked like? Her general appearance? Of course. Brown hair, about 5'6", average build. Why? The same description as the woman in the security footage. Did she ever wear a distinctive bracelet or jewelry? There was a pause. Actually, yes. She had a silver charm bracelet she wore almost every day. Very distinctive. It had these little charms that caught the light. Can you review the security footage one more time? Look at the woman's wrist in any of the clips where you can see her hands. I heard clicking, Douglas pulling up the files. Then a sharp intake of breath. My God. In the April footage, when she's signing the withdrawal slip, there's a bracelet on her right wrist. It looks like Brittany's. Can you provide an official statement to that effect? I'll do better than that. I'm reporting this to our fraud investigation team and the police. If one of our employees committed internal fraud, the bank will fully cooperate with prosecution. I thanked him and hung up, looking at Rachel. The bank is officially investigating Brittany. Good. Now we need to connect Ashley directly. Rachel pulled up more files. I found something else. Ashley has a savings account at First National. Not the same bank where your mother banks. Want to guess the balance? Tell me. $73,000. The room spun. How did you find that? Public records are more public than people think when you know where to look. The account is in her maiden name, Morrison. Probably thought it would be harder to trace. 73,000. 8,000 more than what was stolen from Mom, which meant they'd taken money from somewhere else too, or this had been going on longer than we knew. Rachel, I need to confront Ashley, but I need to do it smart. I need her to confess, or at least slip up. No, what you need is more evidence first. If you confront her now, she'll lawyer up, and you'll never get the truth. Rachel closed her laptop. Give me 2 more days. I have a contact who might be able to find Brittany's current location and see what she's been posting from there. I don't have 2 days. I have less than 48 hours before my dad files a police report. Then we work fast. I couldn't wait. Against Rachel's advice, I drove to Ashley's house the next morning. I needed to see her face, needed to understand how my own sister could do this to me. Ashley lived in a neighborhood I barely recognized. When she and Marcus had gotten married 18 months ago, they'd lived in a small starter home on the east side of town. But this house was different, bigger, newer. As I pulled up to the curb, I took in the fresh exterior paint, the new roof, the professionally landscaped yard, with its neat rows of flowers and decorative stones. The driveway held 2 cars, a nearly new SUV and a sleek sedan. This wasn't the home of a part-time salon employee and a middle school teacher. This was the home of people with money. I walked up the stone pathway and rang the doorbell. Through the frosted glass, I saw movement, then the door opened. Ashley stood there in yoga pants and an expensive-looking athletic top, her hair pulled back in a ponytail. When she saw me, her expression hardened. What do you want, Samantha? We need to talk. I have nothing to say to you. She started to close the door, but I put my hand against it. How did you afford this house, Ashley? That's none of your business. You told Mom and Dad that Marcus got an inheritance from his grandmother. But his grandmother is still alive. I met her at your wedding, remember? Color rose in Ashley's cheeks. His other grandmother. You don't know everything about our family. Marcus is an only child. His mother is an only child. He has one living grandmother, and she's very much alive and living in a retirement community in Boulder. You need to leave. Not until you tell me the truth. How did you afford this house? The renovations? Those trips you and Brittany have been taking? Ashley's eyes flashed. You always think you're so smart, don't you? The perfect daughter, perfect grades, perfect career. You have no idea what it's like to be the other sister. The one who wasn't as smart, wasn't as driven, wasn't as successful. So that gives you the right to steal from our mother? I didn't steal anything. Then where did the money come from? Marcus appeared behind Ashley. He was a quiet man, tall and thin, with wire-rimmed glasses and a gentle demeanor that had always made me like him. But right now, his expression was tense. Sam, you should go. Marcus, did you know about this? Did you know where the money for this house came from? Something flickered in his eyes. Doubt, maybe. Or guilt. Ashley told me her parents helped with the down payment. Our parents didn't have $40,000 to give away. They were saving for retirement, saving the money that's now gone. That's enough. Ashley stepped forward, her voice low and angry. You come here, accusing me of things you did. You're the one who took Mom's money. Everyone knows it. The bank knows it. The police know it. And now you're trying to blame me because you got caught. I got caught? Ashley, I have proof that you and Brittany have been spending stolen money for months. The trips, the shopping, this house. It all matches up with the withdrawals from Mom's account. For just a second, her mask slipped. I saw panic in her eyes, quickly covered by rage. Get out of my house. Not until you admit what you did. You want to know what I did? Fine. I lived. I enjoyed my life. You know what it's like to watch everyone else have things you can't afford? To see your friends getting married with beautiful weddings while yours was a budget affair that Mom only gave $15,000 for? Do you know what my friends spent on their weddings, Samantha? $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. And I got 15. I was humiliated. So you stole to make up for it? I didn't steal. And even if I did, you don't understand. You've never understood. Everything was always easy for you. You wanted to be a nurse, and you just went to nursing school. You got loans, sure, but you made it work. Meanwhile, I've been working minimum wage jobs since I was 16. Trying to save money. Trying to build a life. When I asked Mom for help last year, for help with some debts, she said no. She said she needed to save for retirement. Her retirement was more important than her daughter's life. The bitterness in her voice was shocking. This wasn't my sister. This was a stranger who'd been harboring resentment for years. Ashley. I worked my way through school too. I paid for nursing school with loans I'm still paying off. Nothing was handed to me. You're so naive. You really think we're the same? Mom and Dad were so proud of you. They talked about you constantly. Their daughter. The nurse. Their successful daughter. What about me? I was just the other one. The disappointment. Marcus put his hand on Ashley's shoulder. Honey, maybe we should talk about this inside, privately. She shook him off. No. She wants the truth? Here it is. I needed help, and nobody would give it to me. So I found another way. By framing me, you were convenient. Her smile was cold. You had access to Mom's accounts before. You lived far enough away that you wouldn't notice what was happening. And honestly, Samantha, part of me wanted you to know what it felt like. To have everyone doubt you. To be the disappointing one for once. My heart was breaking. This was jealousy. Pure. And simple. Years of feeling second best had twisted my sister into someone capable of betrayal. I'm your sister. Yeah, well, being sisters didn't stop you from being Mom and Dad's favorite. I turned to Marcus. Did you know? Did you know she was stealing from our mother and framing me? His face was pale. I knew about the down payment. Ashley said her parents had gifted it. I never asked questions because I wanted to believe her. Some money came from places I don't know about, he continued quietly. Cash. Always cash. Ashley said she'd saved it from work. From tips. But the amounts never made sense for what she earns. Marcus. Ashley's voice was a warning. No, Ash. If she really did steal from her own mother and frame her sister, I need to know. That's not the woman I married. I saw my opening. As Ashley and Marcus started arguing, I glanced past them into the hallway. On a side table, there was a framed photo. Ashley and Brittany, sitting on a beach, cocktails in hand, big smiles. The kind of photo people put on display when they're proud of the memory. I pulled out my phone and zoomed in on the frame's digital display. There was a date stamp, April 23rd, the same week as a major withdrawal. Behind the photo, I could see a stack of mail on the table. The top envelope was from First National Bank, addressed to A. Morrison. Through the transparent window of the envelope, I could see numbers. A balance. $73,000. I took a photo as discreetly as I could. "I'm leaving," I announced. "But this isn't over. The truth is coming out, Ashley, whether you want it to or not." As I walked to my car, I heard Marcus's voice rising, asking Ashley questions she clearly didn't want to answer. Good. Let him doubt. Let him question. Maybe he'd be the key to breaking this open. I sat in my car and texted the photo to Rachel. Within minutes, she called me. "This is good, Sam. Really good. Combined with everything else, this shows clear financial motive and means. Now I need to track down Brittany." "How?" "I have a contact in Arizona who might be able to help." Brittany moved to Phoenix. Small world. My contact is a skip tracer. Works with law firms to find people who don't want to be found. If Brittany's there, he'll locate her. How long? 24 hours. Maybe less. I looked at the clock on my dashboard. I had less than 36 hours before my father filed that police report. Time was running out, and I still didn't have enough concrete evidence to clear my name. But I was close. So close I could taste it. Rachel called me at midnight. I'd been lying in the dark in my motel room, unable to sleep, running through every detail of the case in my mind. When my phone lit up, I grabbed it immediately. I found hair. I sat up. "Brittany?" "Yes. She's in Phoenix, like we thought. But here's where it gets interesting. She's not exactly keeping a low profile." Rachel's voice held a note of satisfaction. Her social media, the stuff she thinks is private, is a gold mine. "What did you find?" "Photos, Sam. Lots of photos. Brittany at expensive restaurants, Brittany shopping, Brittany at a resort. And get this, in several recent photos, she's literally holding cash and bragging about it." My breath caught. "What?" "There's one from 3 weeks ago. She's in what looks like a backyard, holding up a stack of $100 bills. The caption says, 65K richer, and nobody's the wiser." She thought she was being clever with a private account. But she tagged the location. Want to guess where? "Tell me." The metadata shows it was taken at an address in Pine Ridge. I cross-referenced it with property records. It's Ashley's house. Brittany was in Ashley's backyard, bragging about having $65,000, the exact amount stolen from your mother. I felt tears prick my eyes. This was it. This was the proof I needed. "Rachel, can you send me everything?" "Already compiling it." But there's more. I went back through months of social media activity. Every single expensive trip or purchase, Brittany posted matches up with withdrawal dates from your mother's account. January, they went to Vegas. January 10th, a withdrawal of $8,300. March, they went to that spa in Aspen. March 17th, $9,800. It's a perfect pattern. Why would she post this? Why would she be so obvious? Arrogance, stupidity, maybe both. She probably thought that by moving to Arizona and making her accounts private, she was safe. She didn't count on someone actually investigating. I thought about the pieces falling into place. What about the bank? Did you find anything else there? I contacted some former employees, pretending to be doing a reference check on Brittany for a potential employer. Want to know what they said? Brittany was always very friendly with one particular customer's daughter. A young woman who came in frequently, always chatting with Brittany. Sometimes for 30 minutes or more. They'd laugh together. Seemed like close friends. Ashley. Exactly. One former teller said it seemed odd how much time Brittany spent with this customer, but nobody thought anything of it because Brittany was otherwise good at her job. So they planned this together. Ashley got access to my old ID somehow, probably from that box of documents I stored at my parents' house. She gave it to Brittany. Brittany used her position at the bank to process the withdrawals, making sure she was the one handling the transactions so no one would question them. They split the money and used it to fund their lifestyle. That's what it looks like. And Ashley's been covering her tracks by framing you. The fake text messages, the witness statement she gave to the police, all of it was designed to shift blame away from her. I felt sick. My own sister had orchestrated this entire nightmare. Rachel, I need all of this documented. Every photo, every timestamp, every connection. I'm putting together a complete report. But Sam, you need to get law enforcement involved properly. This is beyond just clearing your name now. This is fraud, identity theft, elder abuse, serious crimes. I know, but I need to confront them first. My parents deserve to hear the truth from me, not from police at the door. Be careful. Cornered people do desperate things. After we hung up, I lay back down, but sleep was impossible. My mind kept returning to Ashley's words earlier. The jealousy, the resentment, the belief that she'd been shortchanged her whole life. Had I missed the signs? Had I been so focused on my own path that I'd failed to see my sister's pain? But no, pain didn't justify theft. Jealousy didn't justify framing an innocent person. Ashley had made choices, and now she had to face the consequences. At 7 a.m, I called Douglas Harper at home. He sounded groggy, but alert when I explained what Rachel had found. Mr. Harper, I know this is unusual, but I need you to review those security tapes one more time. Specifically, I need you to look at the woman's movements, her mannerisms. Compare them to any interactions you might have on file of Brittany with customers. What are you thinking? I'm thinking that if Brittany was confident enough to post about the stolen money on social media, she might have been confident enough to not disguise herself as well as she thought. Small things. The way she moves, gestures, specific habits. Douglas was quiet for a moment. Give me an hour. I'll call you back. 53 minutes later, my phone rang. Miss Turner, I think you're right. I pulled up our internal training videos, which have footage of Brittany interacting with customers. There's a specific gesture she does, touching her hair behind her right ear when she's concentrating. I went back through the security footage of the fraudulent withdrawals. The woman in the videos does the exact same gesture. Same hand, same movement. At least 3 times across different clips. That's not a common gesture. It's distinctive enough that I'd testify it's the same person. Combined with the bracelet and everything else, I'm confident this was Brittany. Thank you, Mr. Harper. Can you provide all of this to the police? I'm calling them as soon as we hang up. Miss Turner, I want to apologize. When your father first came to me with concerns, I should have investigated more thoroughly before allowing any accusations to move forward. You were doing your job, but thank you. My next call was to Detective Sarah Brennan. She answered on the second ring, and I could hear the surprise in her voice when I told her what we'd found. You've been busy. My life and career are on the line, Detective. I couldn't just sit and wait. Send me everything. The social media evidence, the financial records, the timeline. If this is as solid as you say, we'll move forward with an investigation into Ashley Turner and Brittany Morrison. I want to be there when you talk to them. That's not how this works. Detective, please. My family accused me of a crime I didn't commit. They need to hear the truth. And they need to see that I fought to uncover it. She sighed. I can't promise anything, but send me the evidence first. Let me review it. Then we'll see. I spent the next 2 hours with Rachel, organizing every piece of evidence into a clear, chronological presentation. Bank statements, social media posts, property records, witness statements from former bank employees, Douglas's observations about the security footage. It was damning, comprehensive, irrefutable. At noon, Detective Brennan called back. Miss Turner, I've reviewed your evidence. This is substantial. I'm getting a warrant for Ashley Turner's financial records and preparing to interview both her and Brittany Morrison. The Arizona authorities will pick up Morrison later today. What about my parents? They deserve to know. I'll inform them as part of the investigation. But if you want to be there when I speak with your sister, I can arrange that. Unofficially, thank you. Don't thank me yet. This is going to get ugly. She had no idea how right she was. Detective Brennan called me at 4 in the afternoon the next day. We have Brittany Morrison in custody in Phoenix. She's being extradited back to Colorado. And I've scheduled a meeting with your family for 6 tonight. I told them it was a follow-up about the investigation into the theft. My hands shook as I got ready. I put on clean jeans and a simple blue sweater, wanting to look put together but not formal. This wasn't a trial. This was my family, seeing the truth for the first time. I'd also called my lawyer. Helen Zhang specialized in elder financial abuse and fraud cases. She'd reviewed all the evidence and agreed to be present, both to protect me legally and to help explain the implications of what Ashley had done. At 5:45, I pulled up to my parents' house. Jordan was with me, for moral support, sitting quietly in the passenger seat. "Are you ready for this?" she asked. "I have to be." We walked in together. The living room was already full. Mom and Dad sat on the couch, looking confused and worried. Ashley was in the armchair, her expression guarded. Marcus stood behind her, his face unreadable. Detective Brennan was setting up a laptop on the coffee table, and Helen was reviewing papers in the corner. When Ashley saw me, her eyes widened. "What is she doing here?" "Miss Turner has every right to be present," Detective Brennan said calmly. "This meeting concerns accusations made against her." Dad looked at me, his expression still hard. "Have you brought the money?" "Dad, just listen, please." Helen stepped forward. "Mr. and Mrs. Turner, I'm Helen Zhang, Samantha's attorney. We're here today because new evidence has come to light regarding the theft of your money. We know who took it," Ashley said quickly. "We're all here because of what Samantha did." "Actually," Detective Brennan said, her voice cutting through the tension, "we're here because of what you did, Miss Turner." The room went silent. Ashley's face paled. "What?" I moved to the coffee table, my heart pounding. This was it. This was the moment everything would either break apart or begin to heal. "I didn't take Mom's money," I said, my voice steady, despite my shaking hands. "But I know who did." I started laying documents on the table, one by one. Bank statements, property records, social media screenshots. The timeline Rachel had prepared. Someone stole Mom's identity and withdrew $65,000 over 6 months. They used an old driver's license of mine, one I thought was lost, but was actually taken from a box of my things stored in your basement. Dad leaned forward, studying the documents. "What is this?" "This is proof." I placed down the photo of Ashley's savings account. Ashley has an account with $73,000 in it, under her maiden name, money she supposedly doesn't have. Ashley stood up abruptly. "Where did you get that?" "That's private. It's public record when you know where to look. Here are photos of you and Brittany Morrison on expensive trips. Look at the dates." I pointed to each timestamp. January 15, Las Vegas. January 10th, a withdrawal of $8,300. March 12, Aspen Spa Weekend. March 17th, $9,800 withdrawn. Every trip, every luxury purchase, matched with a withdrawal from Mom's account within days. Mom's hand flew to her mouth. "Ashley, this is ridiculous. This doesn't prove anything." "Brittany Morrison worked at the bank where Mom's account is held," I continued. "She was your best friend. She processed most of these withdrawals personally. She quit in June, right after the last withdrawal was made, and moved to Arizona." Detective Brennan pulled up an image on her laptop. "This is a photo posted to Brittany Morrison's private social media account 3 weeks ago. The image showed Brittany holding a stack of cash, smiling widely. The caption was clearly visible. 65K. Richer. And nobody's the wiser." The room erupted. Dad stood up, his face red. Mom started crying. Marcus stepped back from Ashley like she'd burned him. "The photo was taken in your backyard, Miss Turner," Detective Brennan continued. "We verified the location through metadata and property records." "It's not what it looks like," Ashley said desperately. I didn't know. Brittany must have done this on her own. Then how do you explain this? I placed down the security footage screenshots showing the bracelet. This is footage from the bank of the person making withdrawals with my ID. See that bracelet? The bank manager identified it as belonging to Brittany. But look at this photo from your wedding. I set down another picture. You're wearing the same bracelet. You and Brittany share jewelry. You've posted about it on Facebook. Ashley's face crumpled. You don't understand. I needed help. I had debts. Nobody would help me. So you stole from your own mother? Dad's voice was hoarse with shock. And framed your sister? It wasn't supposed to be like this. Brittany said it would be easy. She said we could take small amounts. Nobody would notice. We were going to pay it back. With what money? Marcus's voice was cold. Ashley, what have you done? I did it for us. For our life. You wanted the nice house. The good cars. You never asked where the money came from. Because you didn't want to know. I asked you directly. You said your parents gifted it. Mom should have helped me when I asked. She had all that money just sitting there, saving it for retirement that's years away. I needed it now. Helen spoke up. Mrs. Turner, what your daughter did constitutes several serious crimes. Identity theft, fraud, elder financial abuse. The person she framed, your other daughter, could have lost her nursing license and faced criminal charges herself. The weight of that statement settled over the room. Mom looked at me, tears streaming down her face. Samantha, I'm so sorry. I should have known. I should have believed you. You should have, I said quietly. I'm your daughter too. Dad sank back onto the couch, his face in his hands. Where's the money, Ashley? Most of it's gone. The house renovations, the trips, paying off my debts. There's maybe $20,000 left in the account. 20,000, Mom repeated numbly. You spent $45,000 in 6 months? Detective Brennan closed her laptop. Miss Ashley Turner, I need you to come with me to the station. We have questions about your involvement in fraud and identity theft. Wait! Ashley looked around desperately. I'll give back what I have. I'll sell the house. Please, don't do this. Helen shook her head. This isn't a civil matter anymore. Crimes were committed. Brittany Morrison is already in custody. She gave a statement this afternoon implicating you as the person who provided Samantha's identification and planned the entire scheme. Ashley's legs seemed to give out. She sat down hard, her face ashen. Brittany told? She promised she wouldn't say anything. She got arrested in Arizona this morning, Detective Brennan said. The moment she realized the evidence against her, she started talking. She said you approached her with the plan. You gave her access to Samantha's old driver's license. You helped her forge the signatures, using old documents you found. You split the money 50-50. The confession hung in the air. Ashley didn't deny it. She just sat there, crying. Marcus spoke, his voice hollow. I want a divorce. Marcus, please. You stole from your mother. You framed your sister. You lied to me about everything. I don't even know who you are. I should have felt victorious, vindicated. But looking at my family, seeing the devastation, I just felt tired, sad. This wasn't a victory. This was the destruction of everything we'd been. Dad finally looked at me. What happens now? Helen answered. That's up to Samantha. She can press charges for identity theft and the damage to her reputation. Your wife can press charges for the financial theft. The bank will likely press charges for the fraud. And the state may pursue elder abuse charges regardless. Everyone looked at me. The power was in my hands now. I could destroy Ashley completely. Send her to prison for years. Part of me wanted to. She'd tried to ruin my life, my career, everything I'd worked for. But she was still my sister. And Mom was still sitting there, having lost $65,000, watching her family fall apart. I want the money back, I said finally. All of it. and I want a written confession that exonerates me completely. After that, I won't press charges for what you did to me. But Mom gets to decide what happens about her money. Ashley looked up, hopeful. Mom? Mom's voice was cold. You'll give back every penny. You'll sell that house. You'll work every day to repay what you stole. If you do that, I won't press charges. But you need to face consequences, Ashley. What you did was wrong. Criminal. I will. I promise. I'll make this right. Detective Brennan stood. Miss Ashley Turner, you'll still need to come to the station and give a formal statement, and we'll be monitoring to ensure you follow through on repayment. If you don't, charges will be filed immediately. As they left, Ashley looked back at me. I'm sorry, Samantha. I really am. I didn't respond. Sorry wasn't enough. It would never be enough. The next 3 months felt like living in a strange dream. Ashley and Marcus put their house on the market immediately. It sold within 2 weeks, a strong market, and a well-renovated property attracting multiple offers. After paying off their mortgage, they had enough to return $48,000 to Mom's account. Brittany Morrison pled guilty to multiple fraud charges in exchange for a lighter sentence. She received 3 years in prison and was ordered to pay restitution. The bank settled with Mom for the losses that couldn't be recovered immediately, ensuring her savings were fully restored. Ashley moved into a small 2-bedroom apartment on the outskirts of town. She got a full-time job at a retail store, working 45 hours a week. Every paycheck, she put money toward the remaining $17,000 she owed. Marcus followed through on the divorce, unable to reconcile what she'd done with the woman he thought he'd married. I went back to Denver, back to my life, but everything felt different now. The betrayal had changed me in ways I was still trying to understand. I'd learned that the people closest to you could hurt you most deeply, but I'd also learned that I was stronger than I'd ever known. 2 weeks after the confrontation, I received a letter from Ashley. It was 8 pages long, handwritten, smudged with tear stains. In it, she confessed everything. Not just the facts of what she'd done, but the feelings behind it. Years of jealousy, of feeling second best, of watching me achieve things she wanted but felt she couldn't have. She wrote about the moment Brittany suggested they could borrow money from Mom, how wrong it felt at first, how she justified it over time. She wrote about the fear when they realized how much they'd taken, the panic when Mom started asking questions, the desperation that led her to frame me. I convinced myself you'd be fine, she wrote. You were always fine. You always landed on your feet. I told myself that even if you faced some trouble, you'd figure it out, because you always did. But I know now that was just me justifying the unjustifiable. I tried to destroy your life to protect my lie. That's unforgivable. The letter ended with a promise. I'll spend the rest of my life making this right. Not just the money, but being the person I should have been all along. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't deserve it. But I want you to know that I see what I did. I see the damage, and I'm so sorry. I kept the letter. Not because I forgave her, not yet, but because it was honest. Real. It was the first time Ashley had spoken to me without jealousy or pretense in years. Mom and Dad came to Denver in October. It was the first time they'd visited my apartment, the home I'd built for myself over 5 years. They looked around with genuine interest, asking about my work, my friends, my life. Dad admitted they'd taken me for granted, assumed that because I was independent, I didn't need them. We should have been there more, he said. We should have seen what was happening with Ashley, the resentment building. And we should have believed you immediately. You should have, I agreed. But I understand why you didn't. Ashley built a careful case against me. She knew exactly what to say to make you doubt. That doesn't excuse it, Mom said quietly. You're our daughter. We should have known you'd never do something like that. We spent the weekend together, really talking for the first time in years. They told me about their lives, their worries, their hopes. I told them about the challenges of nursing, the patients who broke my heart, the ones who gave me hope. We started to rebuild trust, slowly, carefully. Mom handed me an envelope before they left. Inside was a check for $25,000. Mom, I can't take this. It's for your student loans. It's what I should have helped with years ago. I gave Ashley money for her wedding, but I told you that you were on your own because you seemed capable. That wasn't fair. You were both my daughters. You both deserved my support. I cried then, holding the check, feeling the weight of recognition I'd waited years to receive. By December, Ashley had paid back $14,000 of the remaining $17,000. She'd taken on a second job, working weekends at a coffee shop. Her apartment was small and plain, her life stripped down to basics. When I drove through Pine Ridge during the holidays, I stopped by her place. She answered the door looking exhausted, thinner than I'd ever seen her, dark circles under her eyes. Samantha, I didn't expect you. Can I come in? We sat in her tiny living room, both of us uncomfortable. I hadn't spoken to her since the confrontation 3 months earlier. I got your letter, I said finally. I meant every word. I know. I could tell. Are you ever going to forgive me? I thought about that question. Forgiveness felt impossible and necessary all at once. I don't know. Maybe someday. But not today. That's fair. I need you to understand something, Ashley. What you didn't just hurt me financially or legally. You made me doubt myself. You made me question whether my own family loved me. That kind of damage takes time to heal. I know, and I'll give you all the time you need. Why did you really do it? She was quiet for a long time. I was jealous. My whole life, you were the smart one, the successful one. I felt like I was invisible. When Brittany suggested we could take some money, just a little bit, I told myself it wasn't really stealing. Mom had plenty. She didn't need it right away. We'd pay it back. But then it got easier. We took more. We justified it. And when Mom started asking questions, I panicked. Framing you felt like the only way to protect myself. You tried to destroy me to save yourself. Yes. And I'll regret that for the rest of my life. I stood to leave, but paused at the door. Mom told me about the therapy you're doing, court mandated, but yeah, it's helping. I'm starting to understand why I made the choices I did. Doesn't excuse them, but at least I see the patterns now. Good, keep going. Not for me or Mom or anyone else. Do it for yourself. I left feeling something I hadn't expected. Hope. Not hope that we'd be close again. Not anytime soon. But hope that Ashley might actually change. Might become someone better than the person who'd betrayed me. In February, I got promoted to head nurse in my department. It was something I'd been working toward for 3 years, and the recognition felt like vindication. My life hadn't been destroyed. My career had survived. I was stronger for having fought. On the day of my promotion, I received a card from my parents. Inside, Dad had written, "We're proud of the woman you are. We should have said it more. We should have shown it better. We love you, Samantha. Not for what you achieve, but for who you are." I put the card on my desk at work, a reminder that healing was possible, even from the deepest wounds. By March, Ashley had fully repaid Mom. She'd sold some possessions, worked every available hour, and made her final payment on a cold Tuesday morning. Mom called me immediately. "It's done. The account is whole again. How do you feel?" "Relieved. Sad. I have all my money back, but I lost something I can never get back. Trust in my daughter. The family we used to be. Maybe that family wasn't as healthy as we thought," I said gently. "Maybe we needed this to break apart so we could build something better. Maybe you're right." In April, 1 year after the worst of the betrayal, my family had a dinner together. All of us. Mom, Dad, Ashley, and me. We met at a neutral restaurant. No one's home, no history pressing down on us. It was awkward at first. Ashley barely spoke, clearly terrified of saying the wrong thing. Dad tried too hard to keep conversation flowing. Mom watched everyone with careful eyes, but slowly, carefully. We talked. About small things at first. The weather, work, safe topics. Then, gradually, about harder things. Ashley talked about her therapy, what she was learning about herself. I talked about the fear I'd felt, thinking I might lose everything I'd worked for. Mom and Dad admitted they'd failed both of us in different ways, favoring Ashley's presence while taking my independence for granted. It wasn't healing. Not yet. But it was honest. Real. A foundation we could maybe build on. As we left the restaurant, Ashley touched my arm. "Thank you for coming. I'm not ready to be close again," I told her. "But I'm willing to see if we can find a way forward. That's more than I deserve. Maybe. But it's what I'm willing to give." Looking back on that year, I learned lessons I never wanted to learn, but needed to understand. Family isn't just about blood. It's about who shows up, who believes in you, who does the work to make things right. Trust, once broken, takes years to rebuild, and sometimes it never fully returns to what it was. But I also learned about my own strength. I learned that I could stand up for myself, even against the people I loved most. I learned that protecting yourself isn't the same as being unforgiving. It's about knowing your value and refusing to let anyone, even family, take it away. The $65,000 was never really about money. It was about respect, truth, and the courage to demand both. Ashley's betrayal tried to break me, but instead, it revealed what I was made of. Steel covered in kindness. Strength wrapped in grace. A woman who could be hurt, but not destroyed. I still love my family. I see them regularly now, though the relationships are different than before. More honest, less assumed. Ashley and I may never be close like we were as children, but we've found a cautious respect. Mom and Dad have become more present in my life, more intentional. And me? I wake up every day, knowing that I fought for myself and won. I protected my name, my career, my truth. I stood in that kitchen, with evidence in my hands, and changed the narrative from victim to victor. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is hold people accountable. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is refuse to be gaslit into believing a lie. And sometimes the strongest thing you can do is forgive yourself for not seeing the betrayal coming. I'm proud of who I've become through this. Not because I wanted this pain, but because I didn't let it define me. I let it refine me. That's the real victory. Not the returned money or the cleared name, but the woman I became in the process of fighting for both. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever had to stand up to family members who wronged you? How did you find the strength to protect yourself while still holding space for possible healing? Share your story in the comments below. Your experience might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. If this story resonated with you, please hit the like button and subscribe to this channel for more real stories about overcoming betrayal, finding strength, and rebuilding trust. Share this with someone who needs to know they're not alone in facing family conflict. We're building a community here of people who believe in truth, accountability, and the possibility of healing. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it reminded you that you're stronger than you know, braver than you believe, and worthy of being believed. May you always have the courage to stand up for yourself, the wisdom to know when to fight and when to let go, and the strength to build a life that honors your truth. Until next time, take care of yourself, and remember, you deserve people who believe in you, especially the ones who call you family.